So, a warm welcome to all of you to yet another session at YA, the fifth one in the series. It is an honor to have you here each time, welcoming all of you. A very big thank you to all the schools, principals, teachers, parents, students for the continued engagement in the online sessions that we have been conducting at YA. So, before getting on to the session, yes, a brief about YA. Well, YA is an edutainment initiative created to engage, energize, entertain young adults like all of you here. So in the former sessions, we talked about nutrition, cooking, development, art and craft, and we had a great time on the sessions. We all enjoyed, we know that. So today we have another session on animal love and care. We have with us two eminent panelists, both experts in the domain, Dr. Gulvinder Chaudhary and Viren Sharma. Let me take the privilege to introduce Dr. Gulvinder Chaudhary. A dedicated veterinarian, Dr. Gulvinder Chaudhary is the founder of Pet Point Animal Hospital in the city, which has been there since 2008. And he specializes in dogs, cats, and horses. And the hospital also provides equine care veterinary services to remote areas of Rajasthan as well. I mean, apart from the city and other parts of the country also. Dr. Gulvinder is a well-known name in equine industry. He has been on the panel of many horse-related sports like polo, jumping, and other equestrian events. Dr. Chaudhary has been organizing free anti-rabies vaccine camps and has been trying to encourage people to adopt indigenous breeds of dogs and cats. He has been involved in organizing informational activities and has been conducting seminars to bring about public awareness. I welcome you, Dr. Chaudhary.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
To have you as a panelist.
Pleasure is all mine, ma'am. Pleasure is all mine.
I would request Shilpa now to introduce our second guest of the day, Viren Sharma. Over to you, Shilpa.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica. A very warm welcome to all the attendees here. And as Monica said, thanks to all the parents and school and, teaching fraternity for accommodating us during these webinars, where the screen time is so much for children. Thank you so much. An honor to have Dr. Gulvinder on the panel, and with Gulvinder, who's also a dear friend, we have Viren Sharma, who is not an uncommon name when we talk about animals in this city in Rajasthan. So I'm sure many of you must have heard and seen Viren at lots of places, like maybe a newspaper, or heard him over social media, or he's got a huge fan following over media. To introduce him, he's got an experience of 20 years in this field, and with that he's been a canine behaviorist with social media influences that he has been doing over years to sensitize people about the stray dogs and animals especially. He's founder of IDB, famous IDB, International Dog Bazaar, PAWS, that is Protection of Animals and Welfare Society, and MAD, that's Mad About Dogs. He's also secretary to KCI Rajasthan chapter, and fondly to just say that during this lockdown period when people lots of dogs and animals on the street, they were not getting food to eat. During that had over 50,000 animals in this period of 4 months since 21st of March. Great job, Viren. Great job. And
thank you.
He has got a foundation recorder of getting over 1,000 stray dogs adopted to different good families. Kudos. He's been doing a lot of good work for the street animals. He's just been distributing free jackets in winters to the street animals. उनको पहनाते हैं, उनको खाना खिलाते हैं, क्या कुछ नहीं करते हैं. Apart from that, he has been conducted lots of dog shows for over 20 years, has done over 23 more shows apart from that in different cities, and he's gone around the globe to different 4 continents, talking and learning and unlearning and learning about animals, their behavior, and lots of things about which he will be talking and sharing with us. He has been also covered by not only national media, but also international media like CNN, IBN, New York Herald, Gulf News, Wall Street Journal, etc., etc. Such an honor, Viren. Great to have you here. The list goes on.
It's a pleasure.
But he's also been a
Yes.
canine consultant with the Chief Minister, Governor, RPF, Police Academy, whatnot, who not, and last but not the least, he has also been associated with the President of India to the entertainment fraternity like Salman Khan, where dog lovers are involved. So there's a lot we have to discover about him when he speaks about it. Over to you, Viren and Dr.
I think you have spoken. I think you have spoken already enough, and you have compiled all those things out of 22 years of my career and my experience with dogs, which I probably can never narrate or can never describe. So I'm really honored, and I'm really glad and lucky to be a part of this great session with all you great people.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
So over to both of you. So like Viren, we'd like to ask about your take about inside and outside animals, as we human beings are so privileged because of our senses and everything over them. So please share your insights on them.
Well, if you generally talk about animals in particular, I would love myself to be called as a dog man. I associate myself completely. I think I'm a dog soul. I'm a lost dog, abandoned dog by Almighty, which has been blessed to be a human now, and trying to do everything possible which can connect and which can redefine the bond of humans as well as these four-legged agents. I always say to everybody, all the friends of mine, that we humans are, I'm sorry to say it, but we humans are disaster, and probably we are the cause of all the disasters that the Mother Earth is facing. And somehow dog has given us the relief by creating a four-legged angel that is called a dog. Just to make our life happy and just to make sure that this world has a good reason to live and this world has a good reason to love. So if you talk in general, if you talk about dogs, dog has always been my favorite subject, a favorite interest. And of late, I have already fallen in love with all the stray doggos because, to my belief, all the dogs around us, they share the same piece of heart, they share the same piece of loyalty, and they share the same piece of love towards humanity and towards the humankind. So, in this journey of these 22 years, of late, I've discovered a lot of interesting things that we will definitely discuss during this session, all about dogs.
True, Viren, you have added a good startup introduction, and I think it will be really interesting for the audience also to make sure that they should be really, really very well connected, because no matter, you're right, humans have been the one who have been developing or who have been evolving, but the dogs, cats, horses, the animals around us, they have been just staying, they have been an important part of our environment, of our ecosystem, and they have been trying to make sure that there is a balance. When the balance gets disturbed, then we all humans come across various kinds of infections or various kinds of flus or various kinds of epidemics that leads to a lot of loss of only and only human population, and very less, if you see in terms of figures, it's only the majority losses to human beings, not to the animal kingdom. But our industrialization, our civilization has led to a very drastic change, and that has definitely made man into a very big question. The animal kingdom is asking man or a human race that what is their fault? They are part of the ecosystem. They should be living with human being and they shouldn't be ignored. And with your introduction, I would just like to add two more points that ever since man started living on the planet Earth, and then he started evolving, and then the very first animal he looked upon was dog as a companion animal who was helping for hunting and who was the basic life guarding strategy for any human being, or initially the human being when they were very scarce in number. So that was one. And then for the mode of transport came horse, which is now seen as a very trophy kind of an animal. But still both and both of them have an equally important part in our lifestyle. And through this forum, let's concentrate more on dogs and cats, and because they are companion animals. And today's topic, we should not drift from today's topic because we have a lot to say and we both have a lot of experiences which we can share. But we'll confirm and we'll try to give our audiences a little bit more about care on, and especially because now it's monsoon. So let's say we all can give our own contributing point. I as a veterinarian, you as a dog lover, as a person who's been doing so much for the canine world, we both can together give some pointers to the people, and it will be a great idea, because I feel monsoon is a big relief for human beings. We all feel very happy. The flowers bloom around, there is rain, the weather gets good, but at the same time, for our dogs especially, that becomes very difficult because it's a time when the skin, the fur, that's the major organ, which is something which is getting exposed to various infections. There is more bacteria, there is more fungus, there are more ectoparasites seen on the pets. And definitely, because we all know that dogs and pets, they love going out, they want to play outside. So that's something where they are encouraging and they are getting more exposed to various kinds of infections. So we'll like to talk today on that topic, and we both can have a nice word of information for the people and for the viewers.
Absolutely.
Because I generally, when I sit at my practice and when I see people coming up, they walk in with various issues. Generally, with the rainy season, they will say that they are observing a lot of skin issues. Then the second problem is because there is, especially in Rajasthan, there is a lot of change in temperature. As soon as the summers are somewhere around 40 to 42 degrees, and when the rain starts, the rain suddenly brings a higher amount of drop in the temperature, that leading to a substantial amount of change in the environment, and the whole system, the feeding mechanism is all changed. Because generally dogs in summers, they will just consume once a meal or maybe like once in a whole day, and they will be preferring more of a liquid diet like buttermilk or more of water to rehydrate their own bodies. And the only energy they will be consuming or getting will be only from one diet that they are taking. And suddenly when there is rain, and then there is an intermittent rain, and after that rain there is sudden change in temperature, environment, the humidity increases, so then there are a lot of infection, especially when the dog is not eating, and then suddenly there is rain, and then the dog is also trying to adjust. Like we feel happy about the rain, but for them it's very difficult time, because for them it's very difficult to understand what is the sudden change. There was so much of heat in the environment, and now suddenly there is so much of water all around. So that content makes them really go around. So they have a lot of gastric problems, they will have skin issues, they will have respiratory issues. And it's like a time where every pet parent should be really emphasizing, and they should be really very careful and observant about their pets. Because this is a time when they can really make out if their pet is requiring a veterinarian visit. If not, then definitely they can have some certain things in their pet lifestyle which will bring a lot of which will save them, and which will be a much more careful attitude by being a pet parent. What do you think?
Absolutely. And when you consider the huge amount of pet parents, and when you see the over concern of all the people, as a responsible pet family, so they always want to make sure that their pet should be living a very healthy and very hale and hearty life. And
Right.
somehow we miss on the very basic things that I always keeps on telling all the people, that moisture is a biggest enemy of every dog around you. So you just have to keep their skin as much dry as they can. Even if your dog is actually drenched in rain, or he has got wet because of some storage or amount of water, you should always make sure that the dog gets completely dried up. And during these times, I always keeps on telling that even on general note, even if your dog is not suffering from any skin infection, you should always take precautions, because as you rightly said, there are certain things that pops up during this monsoon, during this season, and one has to be extra careful, because their complete body is naked. It is completely exposed to every possible fungal and every possible bacteria around.
Right,
So
right.
if you just even do, if you even sometime if you become a little negligent, it can lead you to a lot of trouble. And the dogs, the only problem with them, they can't speak. And
They
usually, if
don't
you
speak.
see
They are
all the
little.
dogs,
They are very innocent and they are very gentle. So that's why what I generally tell people who are visiting my clinic, and especially the pet parents who are really worried. There is a certain segment of pet parents that are really worried about their pet skin, especially, and they are unable to understand. So I have to tell them technically, see, skin is the most important organ. So they are surprised to see that skin is an organ. I said, yes, skin is an organ because there are everything starts from skin. Infection
absolutely.
will start from skin, and just to protect the skin, there are breeds of dogs which will have coat. There are dogs which will have short coat. So both ways, the problem remains the same for both. Let it be a short coat or a long coated dog, because the problem is if it is a short coat, the piercing of or any bacteria or fungus, it's very easy to get inside. If it is a long coat, it will get inside, but it will be identified on a pretty long time. That is why things like eczema and things like different bacterial infections, and definitely the ectoparasites. And then other thing that usually this season is like bringing up more is the ear infection, because then I have to tell them that you need to clip the inside part. Don't go too deep inside. You have to take care of the ear also, because ear is something like dogs like German Shepherd, they have straight ears, so they don't have complication. But like Labs and Beagles and any other breed which has a drooping ear, they have a different complication. In their
Absolutely.
case, the bacteria that is infecting the canal or the ear area is very different. So the care has to be same, but then people are surprised, and then they will compare that how this infection happens. We were taking so much of care of, we were so much careful about the dogs. So then it's not like there is any negligence in the care. It is sometimes the bacteria that's there in the environment. And the monsoon is like, it's like the harvesting time where we get ample amount of bacteria and ample amount of agents in the rain that can cause any kind of problem.
Absolutely.
Secondly, people need to understand that in summer season, most of the dogs have the habit that they will go into a little wet area and they will sit, or they will just sit in a puddle of water. That is fine because in summers it gets dried off. But in rainy season, it is the other way around. You have to avoid getting your dog into that area. And even if you are having a habit of bathing your dog within 15 days, so I would emphasize and I would recommend that you should groom your dog more often rather than giving a bath, until and unless it's some kind of a medical condition that is required, that requires a bath. Definitely, if it's a tick, definitely it's an flea or any other infestation that requires attention, then definitely you need to. Otherwise, the best thing is groom your dog well. Take care of your dog in such a way that where you are really taking care of the ear part, where the paws are there, take care of the nails, take care of the hair that are around the paws area, because this is something which is again going to be a area which dogs generally clean. And the same goes for the cats also. The cats are also trying to clean their body area, and then when they have that, all those infections on the hair follicle and then gets inside the digestive system, it causes a lot of complications. And we all know it's very difficult for us as a veterinarian, as a pet parent, to get over that situation where we see that our dog is not eating, because that's again a big time problem when we don't see our pet eating. And I see a lot of pet parents that come to me regularly and they say that our pet is not eating, our pet is not consuming whatever he was liking, he's ignoring everything. So this is some kind of a symptom, and there is some kind of a background story, or there is some kind of pathological change in his body. So there definitely the other point that we can say, and there's just a small tip I would like to keep on this, that if you see that your dog is not eating too much, if he's not consuming too much, if he's going through any of the forms of diarrhea, vomiting, and you see that he has fever, so you can just keep him on on a diet like just the normal rice. That's fine. Boiled rice is fine because that is not going to cause any kind of a problem, but definitely going to give a good amount of energy. Secondly, while cleaning, you can make a spray with neem oil. Neem oil is available everywhere, and it is proven a good overall in various researches. It has proven a very good disinfectant, especially for the furries. and it keeps the ectoparasite out. So what's your vision on that?
I was myself a sufferer. I lost my baby Golu because of tick fever.
Ah,
So generally people take ticks very lightly and they don't even know what this can cause, how deadly it is, and how difficult
right,
it is to overcome, the loss of your loved ones, and
right,
especially when
right,
they can't speak. So I was
right.
not in India last year, and at the same time this monsoon was happening, and I was there out for a quite good long time. So I wasn't able to diagnose. Also, the moment when I came back, my Golu was diagnosed because she was not eating. She was
Right.
dull. Probably I thought that's because she's too much connected to me. She's emotionally attached to me. And since she cannot see me around, that's how she has gone a little sad or something. But actual cause was just not that, but in fact the tick problem also. And because of that, she developed babesia. And because of the tick fever, I lost Guru. It was too late by the time we realized, and all the vital organs, they just collapsed. So tick
Yeah,
fever, I would
because
like you to
I
talk about tick fever. Let the people know how deadly this is. It sounds like a small thing, but it is so deadly.
Even I have lost one of my adopted street dogs who used to live here because of tick fever. So it's a grave concern that how we can take care. I think Dr. Gulvinder already shared that, during this rainy season, especially when there are so many fleas and ticks that tend to get onto their bodies, how their skin care can be taken care of. And if it gets too severe, don't get too late to take to a vet. That's the best
That's
way.
important. And if required, if you see that the fever is not going down, sometimes ticks will bite and they will leave the host. So then you need to at least tell your veterinarian that your pet was exposed to a tick or a flea, because sometimes what happens is a veterinarian is considering only what he says, and we have a kind of a system wherein we have to take a history, and if we are not getting the right inputs, the treatment gets delayed. And then when we see, and when we at times, I have a lot of people who come down and who say that because of this that happened, because of that this happened. So it's like we also at some point are to be responsible. We should note each and every point, we should note down each and everything, and we should take literally, like we when we talk about our babies, same way we should talk to a veterinarian, and then we should discuss all the history and all the possible things, so that we are not losing a day. And definitely, if you feel, and if your veterinarian feels that yes, there is some kind of a complication that is there in the blood, so immediately get a blood test done, go for a hemoprotozone test, and then there are various drugs available which can cure, and you can still be with your pet.
Right.
Absolutely.
That was quite insightful, Dr. Gulvinder, that how we can take care of our pets during this rainy season, which is already here. So also we'd like to know from you, Viren, when we talk about indigenous dogs, that I read that you have, already made more than 1,300, street dogs adopted or puppies adopted by these families. There was a time when we were so apprehensive about having an indigenous dog in the boundary also. You used to hush them away. Apparently, we started adopting them because they are lovely guard dogs for us. I have got lots of stories with them. So with the changing mindset, how it functions, if you can help us and, put light on this.
See, first of all, one should always, you need to understand a dog biologically is a dog. They have always been the most loyal companions to the
Human
mankind.
beings.
It is not,
Right.
it is, yeah, to mankind. It is just not about a breed. Breed has all these breed dogs. Out of my 22 years of experience, I can say this. All the breed, 99.99% breeds have been developed by humans. They have not been the genuine dog. But if you say about those stray dogs, they have not been developed. They are the result of the most alpha dog couple mating. That's how you get to see the babies. If you see there is one single female and there are 20 different dogs hovers around her, but she only chooses one partner, which is the strongest. And out of that strongest partner, you get to see those babies. So any which ways, they are the most finest alpha, genetically strong puppies that you get to see on the road. And I'm so lucky and I'm so blessed. The day I started this adoption thing, people started realizing this off late with their own experiences, that these dogs are equally loving. They have the same heart. They emit the same positivity. They take care of you and your family like their own family, and you become their guardian angel. A lot of people have come forward, a lot of awareness is there. Social media is also responsible. And when you start talking good about them, people ask me, I just give them one simple example. When they say, ki main sadak ka kutta kyun lu? I always keeps on telling them on their face, ki, brother, you don't look like Ranveer Singh, but does that makes you less of a man? Or I may not look like Hrithik Roshan, but does that makes me less of a man? How does looks matters? It is all about the loyalty. It is all about the love. It is all about their attachment and bonding to you. And every dog connects with your soul. So irrespective of their breed, shape, size, color, doesn't matter. Every dog is a beautiful gift of Almighty to us, and a part of our life remains, a part of our soul remains unawakened, untouched until the time we have a dog in our life. So whosoever wants to make his life or her life more beautiful, whosoever wants to make his life or her life a little less stressed, and whosoever wants to be happy, I think they have all the reasons in this stressful world, in this mechanized world, to have a companion, to have a dog, or for that matter, even cat around them.
Well, with this COVID situation going on, lockdown going on, definitely we have all lost what exactly was around us. The puppies that we see, the dogs that we see. But I see a severe amount of change in past 2 or 3 months, because when people were staying home, they didn't had any option and they didn't had any companionship. So it was just like a bonding that slowly and slowly developed, and then there was an eye opener for every kind of a person. I saw people who were hating and who used to stay away. They also were close. They were trying to feed the dogs, and then they, from listening something like, okay, now they are there, so at least we feel we are safe. Now that is something which comes in. So I believe it's not the breed, it is just the right platform, and it is just the right people. If people will learn, and if people will think that yes, it is important, they are also a part of the ecosystem, they can be adopted, they can be kept, and it doesn't makes a difference if, either you keep a German Shepherd or you keep any indigenous breed, because they have the same heart. They are all four-legged. They have two eyes, one tail, and no matter in every emotion you are, I am telling you, they will be happy to see you. They will be happy to greet you even at 2 o'clock in the night when you come out. They know by your car, yes, you are here, and they'll be all around you because they love you as a person. They don't hate you.
They don't judge you.
They don't judge you. They don't hate
Financial
you. No,
status,
no.
irrespective of your looks,
Nothing.
irrespective
Nothing.
of your background, irrespective even
Nothing.
if you're a rat picker. If you're
They'll
just giving your
They
amount of love
connect
to
you.
them,
They connect with your heart. That's very simple thing, I would say.
absolutely.
And next, moving
I
on.
made so many friends around. During this pandemic time, when I was out every day on the street to feed all the dogs. Trust me, not even a single dog pounced on me. Not even a single dog growled at me. Not even a single dog tried to charge at me. Probably they were the one who were always deprived of love or deprived of human touch. The moment I used to rub their tummy, rub their belly, the moment I used to put my hand on their head, they were like they completely gave up. And they said, probably they can survive without food, but they cannot survive without love. So that was
Because
such
they
a
need a
beautiful
human
moment.
touch. Because they
Yes.
definitely need a human touch. Without a human touch,
They are the equal
see,
kids of Almighty. They are the equal
exactly,
kids of Mother Earth. They are the equal child of this planet Earth.
they
They
are
deserve all the
living.
love and respect.
That's why I say they are living and they are part of an ecosystem. So we can't ignore them. Just because they are on the street, we can't ignore them. We
In
should
fact, if
be
we are humans,
being
yeah, please
human.
continue.
It's yeah, being human. We should not just be like saying, "Ki, okay, we should be having empathy towards another human being." But anything that is living around us, we should have an empathy, and we should at least make sure that whatever we can do, we should do. At least we should not do any kind of a harm until and unless you are not harmed. So, and I don't think so. Dogs initially will charge. If you are good with them, they'll be fine. They only want a lot of affection and a little bit of food. That's it. They are happy in that, and nothing else. I don't think so. They need. So adopting one, keeping them, even if you can't adopt, let's say there are families which will not readily go for it. So I would say it's okay. You still can give a little shelter because now it's rainy season. The dogs who are outside, let them stay around like under your car if they are fine. if you have a place outside your house, just make sure you can make a small shelter for them so that they are saved again from the rain. They don't get ill and then they don't fall sick, or they don't get into some kind of a fight, because monsoon is again a breeding season. And then there is, as you said, it's like the alpha which breeds. So everyone is trying to go into that direction on that tangent and then want to breed. And then there are a lot of injuries that are seen. And it's next to impossible because they are so afraid of their own fights and of the surrounding that they will not even allow a human being. Let's say you or I want to treat someone or any one of the dog who's injured. They will not even go close. They will just be like furious and they will just run away. So that's another thing that we as human beings should understand, that they have a certain trauma which they need to be revived of, and slowly and gently they should be treated, and a lot of affection and good help has to be given to them also.
Absolutely. And good part is that I think this pandemic time, this crisis, this never before situation has actually made people more human, more kind, and they've started thinking about them also. They've started accepting their existence. I see wherever I go. Initially, when it was just 10-15 days of my feeding mission, I used to see there was nobody around. All the bowls that I've kept for the water, all the bowls and the containers that I've kept for the food, they were all empty. But there was a time when I started seeing there was surplus of food lying on the road, or surplus of water, or surplus of rice, or whatsoever. So I am so lucky and I'm so blessed that whatever we started doing, this goodness spread so quickly like wildfire, and everybody's inner goodness came out, and everybody's beautiful soul came out to help these soulful creatures as best as they can. When people ask me that what do we have to cook or what do we have to do to feed these stray dogs, I used to tell them even a packet of Parle-G, even a packet of 5 rupees Parle-G would help them survive one more day. People ask me that it is sweet or it is sad. I said it is any day better. I know it is sweet, but it is any day better than those things that they eat, the wood, the stone, or those
something is always better than
that they have.
Something
Anything,
is always better. Yeah, something is always better than better for a survival. Better than the garbage. Actually, they are eating polybags, and especially the stray cows, which we see. And I don't understand what kind of a system we have when we have a religious dates or religious days. The cows would be flooded with green fodder, and then the same cows will not be given even a small bundle of grass. Why?
It should be a habit.
It should be a habit. It should be a constant
everyday ritual. When we talk about our Sanatan culture, in every household in ancient time, nowadays also, if you see the rural part, the first roti that is made in the house is for the cow, and the last roti goes to the dogs.
Definitely.
But nowadays, since the civilization has changed, the eating habits have changed. Even we are completely, our kids are dependent on Zomato and Swiggy. So for that matter, you have to make sure that you are thinking just not about your tummy, but you have to think about those community animals also, be it cow, be it cat, be it a dog.
Definitely.
The greatness and the moral progress of a nation is judged by the way its animals are treated. As this is being rightly said by Mahatma Gandhi, the father of
Mahatma Gandhi ji.
Yes. So the foundation sentence that has been given to us, the foundation sentence that has been given to us by our father of nation has to be followed religiously, by heart, and it has to be an everyday ritual by every individual around. It is not a responsibility of Dr. Gulvinder Chaudhary or Shilpa or Viren. It is a responsibility of every individual who has some empathy, some compassion, some love, some kindness toward these mute and voiceless creatures.
Right. Well said. So another thing that mostly when it's like a rainy season, people come across, and now it's basically a COVID season. So people are really afraid that should they go out and should they take their dogs out, or should they let the dogs come in contact with other people. So at the end, I will just be like telling a small couple of points about this COVID thing and your pets. But I would say still the walking part or the exercising part for your pet is very important, because that is a part of your pet which is going to enhance his digestion and is going to make him exercise and is going to make his joints, muscle, everything is going to be moved. And then that is going to lead to his cheerfulness or his energy. If he is a very sluggish dog, he will just eat and sleep. But if he is a high energy dog, he's going to move around. He needs space. Now, the problem is people say now it's COVID time, where to go and what to do. So Maybe if you have a house, then it's fine. Even if you are staying in a house, you can use staircase. You can have games like fetch, and definitely these two parts are something which can really help your dog get at least a bare minimum of exercise, so that he's not just sluggish and he's having a full utilization of whatever feed he's getting. Otherwise, his appetite is going to be less, and then this is going to lead to another complication, and then there are further other complications which I don't feel any pet parent would really be looking forward to. What's your
Absolutely,
take on
sir.
that?
In fact, nowadays I've started advising people to switch from the ready-made food with
Right,
loads and loads of preservative, which are hazardous, 100% harmful, and 100% not good for the system of any dog. You should start giving them fresh cooked food made in your home, which is quite economical, which makes sure that the dog keep remains healthy, which makes sure that you have less doctor visits, and which makes sure that your dog remain healthy and hale and hearty forever.
right, right.
How would you like to describe the after effect of these preservative and the ready-made dog food, all these canned foods on the health of dogs?
See, it is just a shortcut kind of a thing. Like we have Swiggy and Zomato, so we have a bag which has a pre-nutritional or diet. But I think that pre-nutrition or pre-formula that we are giving, or there's a flood in the market that this is this brand. There are n number of brands in the market, and people are choosing, but they don't understand what is the nutritional value, what are the nutritional contents, what are the basic few ingredients that makes the difference, and why one is different from the other, and why one is so expensive, and why one is so palatable and the other is not so palatable. So people need to understand, yes, in a climate like India, we can have both a dog food or we can have a home cooked food. No harm in that. But still, making and cooking a food for your pet is, it has a totally different experience, because then you need to have that love and affection, and especially the time also. If you have the time, no problem, you can go forward. But if you don't have time, and since it's a rainy season, so it is always better. I would always say cook fresh, give fresh, and even if you are picking up a dog food, don't pick up anything which is big. Try and pick something which is small, that maintains the quality, the quantity, and maintains the nutritional value of that food. Otherwise, what
The
happens
right
is
balance of carbs, protein, fiber.
anything. The better combination is we need to have something, because dogs, cats, they all are like carnivorous animals. So they need something, some kind of an animal protein, which can be anything. But it should be at least, I would say, bare minimum. If you are looking forward, it should be a human edible level. It shouldn't be below that. If it is
Correct.
on that level, it is fine. Even if you are buying a chicken or if you are buying something else from the store, make sure that you wash it, you clean it, and you give the same amount of treatment as you prefer for your own self. It shouldn't be
Correct.
little less. It shouldn't be given raw,
Correct.
because again, giving raw leads an invitation to a lot of problems. And then there has to be a roughage. Any green vegetable which is seasonally available has to be added, so they don't get constipated. And there has to be a probiotic added to it, so that the gut maintains all those things, all those necessary bacteria that are required for proper digestion and nutrition. And with
Absolutely.
rainy season, the most important problem with diet, there is, like, dogs have a habit that they will go out as soon as the rains are there, then they will go out and they will just sniff and they will just lick that water. Now that, because that's again an important part that pet parents should notice. Definitely they can't avoid, they can't stop, because you can't stop a dog from sniffing and going there and drinking water from any of the puddle or anything, because that's again something which leads to a bacterial infection called leptospira, which is very dreadful. It's very common in rainy season, and it's a bacteria which causes contamination of water and it gets into animal system through an open wound, through skin, through hair, or through contaminated water. So it's both ways important.
Very,
When we talk about diet, water has to be maintained and water has to be changed, because it shouldn't be staying around in the pan for a not more than 10 to 12 hours, maximum 12 hours. If possible, 6 hours if you
totally.
can change, it's good. If not, then 12 hours. Let's say if pet parents are going out for a work and they'll be like seeing the pet only after 10 or 12 hours, then it's fine. And it should be avoided, that locking down of pets should be avoided. There should be at least someone in the house who should take care, and then they should be left free. Otherwise, it's again a trauma to the pets. What's your take on that?
They absolutely need a companion to talk. They absolutely need a family to spend their time and to share all their grievances, pain, happiness, and all their pleasures and all their emotions. So locking down a dog for that long, it is definitely not advisable. I always keeps on telling for the first timers also, when people come and they tell me that okay, we are the first timer, we are a working couple and we will be out for 8-10 hours. I straight away tell them only for your fun of 20 minutes. Probably you want to play with the dog the moment you come back from your office or from your work and you want to just get stress free. You cannot put a life of this living being in stress for those 10 hours. He will be locked. So please drop your idea. Whenever you want to play with dogs or whenever you want to have that dog thing in your life, you can just go around. You can just play with all the stray companions. You can feed them. Otherwise, you can always visit my place and play with them rather than just spoiling the entire life of a dog. Because of your own personal commitments. This is completely not advisable to anybody who wants to have a dog. They need your time. They need your love. They need your bonding. They need your presence. First of all, for them, you are their life. You have 100 things to engage yourself into. You have 100 entertainment sources to engage yourself into. But dogs are just you. You are their whole world, and always make sure that this world revolves around them. Then only you can always keep a dog. Otherwise, you should always drop the plan. This is absolute injustice to them.
Right. And that is why it is very important, as I started with my introduction of the conversation, is we should, as pet parents, as a veterinarian, I always tell my visitors and people who come with the pets that you should be really, really very careful at least 2 seasons, winter season and the rainy season. Now it's like we have 3 seasons annually, but summers will not show a lot of problems, but rainy season and winter season will show. And then there are some general signs which people can really, really be careful and they should not ignore, I would say. Like if they see that the dog is or the cat is shivering or is mewing too much and anxious or slowed down from the regular activities, not moving around, looks weak, not good on the appetite, gets back very quickly inside or hides inside. That's like something which they are not comfortable and they're giving some kind of an indication that there is something wrong in them. So it's a time when you should already, like, it should be like a planner thing. Every 3 months or 4 months, there should be a scheduled veterinary examination so that you make sure that your pet is going through the best time. He's not suffering, and at least make sure that, because this is something which we need to understand. Veterinarians are important part of your dog's health. So you need to schedule an appointment and then fix your various questions, like questions regarding their vaccination, their nutritional supplements, or just the deworming or some parasitic treatment or any other special attention required during the rainy season or at the end of the rainy season when the winters start. So that's again something which is very, very difficult season. But for some dogs, for every dog, I would say it's healthy season. But certain dogs definitely require a lot of attention, especially when they are either pregnant or when they are very old, because old dogs will have a lot of arthritis problem also. So they all are like special cases. Special attention is required to them, and people should make it a point to have a right time scheduled veterinary examination at least once the vaccination has been done. So at least make sure that 4 or 5 times, at least 2 times in a year, you should take your dog. So your dog is also in a habit of going out, because there are people who will say the dog is very well, he's not comfortable going to a vet, or he's not comfortable even getting into the car, because he knows, he has an idea every time he's going to walk into the doctor's room, he will get an injection. So that makes him really, really afraid. So he doesn't want to. So that is something which psychologically people should understand and should change. Every time when you are just walking, you're just walking. But unnecessarily even going out to a veterinarian is not advisable, because see, his office is something where he's treating a lot of infection. So you also have a tendency that you might pick something up. So unnecessary going up and visiting a vet is also not even advisable at the same time. It has to be there and it has to be a proper care. So you should be holding your dog nicely. You should present your dog. And as soon as the veterinary examination has been done, just take your dog, get him back into the car, wash his paws, at least use certain cleansing agents so that you are not picking up any infection from the office itself. Sometimes when there are cases when the healthy dogs are going, for a general checkup or for a general routine vaccination or immunization, and they come back home, and after a couple of days they're showing like ticks, or they're showing a lot of other infection, which comes down only because they have been exposed with certain other animals. So that has also, pet parents need to understand that this is an important part which they should take care, because dogs definitely, as you know, they are very curious. They will smell everything, they will try and sniff everything, they will try and use their paw on everything. So it has to be mandatory, and definitely the veterinary offices should be really, really good. The hospital should be really, really good. They should maintain the utmost care to maintain the hygiene and cleanliness.
A veterinarian, in my regard, has to be a magician, because when we talk about humans, we have those specialized branches.
Right.
We have a stomach specialist, we have a ear specialist, we have a throat specialist, we have a brain specialist, we have a orthopedician, we have a dentist, and there are 100 different branches,
Right.
catering different needs of a human being. But when it comes about dogs, a doctor has to be a real magician, and especially then too, when a dog cannot even convey what exactly is problem, and he cannot even express where exactly the trouble is. So the veterinarians, to my regard, they are actual god to these voiceless creatures and companions when it comes to their life saving. And regular visits, especially when you have any small or any slight indication that your dog is not behaving well, will definitely save you from a lot of big trouble that you might invite unknowingly. So a veterinarian has to be a very, very important part of in every pet parent's life.
And I believe it's like a chain reaction. The dog is there, the pet parent is there, the veterinarian is there, and of course people like you, who are always an important part, because people will come to you for any adoption or for taking any breed, or will come to you for picking up any food or for toys or for any other advices. So it's like an ecosystem which is there. So everyone is important in the part, and no one is higher or no one is lower. Everyone has to do a justified job with respect to the dog, or to the animals, or to the companion animals, or to the exotic animals that are prevailing in the market. And we should make sure that people who are taking these pets, they should take full responsibility, bear full responsibility about the health, about the nutrition, and about the well-being. Because I see there are people who will have dogs, and initially they will have dogs, but then they will just ignore them and they will just keep them outside, and they are just like any used car. And then it's really very painful to see such experiences when the dogs are really nice, they're really good, and when you look into their eyes, you will not be able to, what exactly is the experience, because you are really connected with the dog. But then there are people whom we talk, who we try and counsel them that, see, you have to do this, you have to improve this. So for a certain period of time, they change. For a certain period of time, they might not change. So it's very difficult. So we're trying to educate people. We are trying to tell people that if you have a dog, you are a pet parent, and it is your responsibility to solely take care of him like your child. Do not ignore, do not take his illness lightly, because your ignorance might lead to his life complications. So we have to be really, really very careful when we talk to pet parents or people who approach us for adopting a pet.
Especially when a dog is a living being, dog is not a trophy that Mr. Sharma is having. So I should also, being Mr. Verma, I should also have a dog. It is never ever like that. Dog is a companion, and only adopt a dog or a pet in your life when you can do justice to them. When you can think that they are a part of your family, when you can do justice to them in terms of the love, the time, the care, and all the necessary requirement that a dog or a living being have to survive. Always do justice with your decision. In a haste or just to copy people that, okay, that person is having a dog, even I should have it, then you should never ever think about
that's not justified. That's not justified. That's not justified. It is not. It's not a race where
people are good, people are bad. But I think of late, what I see the change. Every human has that goodness inside them, and till the time they don't have a dog in their life, they never come to know how beautiful it is to be with a dog. So dogs are such smart species. Let's have some bad examples keeping aside. Dogs are such smart species of animals that they make sure to make that place in every owner's heart, that they cannot just left out, and they just cannot be left alone, or they just cannot be sidelined from their life. But yes, I see a lot of irresponsible pet parents also. So It is not something, it's not a kid's toy that your kid is asking to have a dog and you should just go and get any dog breed of your choice, you can buy from any pet shop around. You should never ever do that. It is a soulful responsibility. It is a combined responsibility. And right from the youngest kid in your family to the oldest companion in your family, it is a combined and a mutual responsibility to take care of that soul who is coming in your life. And if you guys, all of you are willing, then only think about adopting or buying. Otherwise, you should always pamper and you should always feed or you should always take care of those stray animals around who have nobody as a family except you people.
Definitely, at least you are extending a good amount of health, good amount of nutrition to those who are helpless. So it is better.
Absolutely.
if you can't 24/7 into 365 days provide a good amount of attention to a living being, it's better to adopt or take care of a dog. Even don't adopt, just give him good nutrition, give him the basic things that he requires, and you will see the immense amount of love you will get. I don't think so any materialistic thing in this world can be really, really compared to and love that animal reflects back
That's
to
completely
human beings.
unconditional love that we learn from them.
Right.
So we have a lot to talk about, but we are running short of time, and we've got few questions from children.
Well, Shilpa, just before question answer starts, there might be few questions regarding to this thing, which is corona and dogs and cats. So I will just very quickly give a brief thing about the coronavirus. Definitely, it's a very dangerous virus for human beings, and there is a lot of information going around, and there are a lot of pet parents also, because as you were talking about, there are people especially in COVID times and before COVID times also, people have been keeping pets. So the major question that in their mind is the corona affecting the dogs and cats or the companion animal or the horses or the dogs or the animals that are staying around. So I will just stick on to the subject of dog and cat at the moment, because if we discuss about all the animals, it will be very difficult and it will be very time consuming thing. So in a brief, I would like to tell that this coronavirus is coming down from the Coronaviridae family, and it tends to be a very specific virus. And there is a specific virus which is already there for dogs and cats, and for the dogs especially, the virus that is there, it is already causing a lot of infection to the dogs and to the cat. And for that, to stop that, there is already a vaccine that has been there for last 10-15 years in the market. And every veterinarian, every well-known canine practitioner is advising the owners who are going there. So the basic sign that the canine coronavirus is showing is the mild diarrhea, fever, and some kind of a neurological symptoms because of dehydration and loss of glucose. And definitely there is a feline infectious virus also, which is causing feline infectious peritonitis, and both are associated with the corona. Okay. But till date, there has been no evidence that a pet is directly been infected with human COVID-19. Okay. It's only, there are researches, there were, what I would say, there are still trials going on where in the lab there is research going on where is the COVID human virus really affecting the humans or the animals. Animals definitely it's affecting the humans, but not the animals. And from the animal transformation, it's like not 100% sure that humans are giving coronaviruses to dogs or cats. The experts of World Health Organization and the World Small Animal Veterinary Association, they are recommending that good hygiene and proper hand wash and proper handling. When you are handling your dog, especially, or your cat, you should wash your hands and make sure that you dogs are well or cat is well immunized against the required immunization schedule. And for further guidelines, if there must be a lot of people who would be anxious that how they can know about it. So there is a website called OIE. That's like, which gives an information about all the deadly diseases, all the viruses that are working and prevalent and are danger and are transferred from humans to animals, from animals to humans. And then there is another association called World Small Animal Veterinary Association, which is regularly updating the information and the researches, latest researches. So people can really go there and they can just Google it and they can find more information about it. Thank you, Shilpa, and we can start with the questions.
All right. So one of the girl, they asked, wait a minute. Daksh Kaushik asked, I want to adopt a rabbit, then what is the procedure?
I think I have the legit answer for this. I have a page by the name of Virendra Sharma on Instagram, and whosoever wish to adopt, not shop, and whosoever wish to take away these indie puppies or these kittens or these rabbits at no cost, but with a responsibility contract that you will take care of them, you will look after them, you will not leave them, and you will always be with them till they are alive, then you can definitely visit my place. And you can definitely wait for the adoption alerts that I keep on posting almost every day about all these various free adoptions. The only condition that we require is that you should be accompanied with your parents. You should always be, either you are 18 years and above or you are accompanied with your parents, so that you are taking home that responsibility with your parents' consent.
Right. So I believe, Daksh, you got your answer. So we go on to the next question. Shivang Thakaran asks, can pugs bite anyone, and do all of them have some or the other eye problem? We're talking about pugs here. So Dr. Gurvinder, you may be able to answer this one, please.
Yes, I will be. See, the first part of the question is pugs bite or they do not bite. See, it's biting is basically a behavioral thing which is in anticipation to any of the acts which is going against them. If there is a kid or if there is any kind of a threat to their survival, they will, it's like a God gift. Dog will definitely bite in anticipation to it. Generally, pugs are very friendly. They don't bite. They are really, really very good and cool with kids, younger kids also, like 5 to 6 years or less than that, but they don't bite. If a pug is getting ferocious, we need to check a background, what exactly is the triggering point leading to that kind of a behavior, and what are the responsible signs, and what he is and what situation makes him bite. Is it like when you're trying to pick him up, hold him up? Because there are people who will hold the pug with ears also, I have seen, with legs also they will hold it and they will just keep it and throw it. And then there are kids who will kick pug with their, like a football. So then definitely they will anticipate and they will react when they are passing, when the kid is passing, they will just grab or they will bite or snap. It's just like they want to defend their own self, but technically it is some kind of a behavior problem. That is first and foremost thing. Or the dog has some kind of one problem with the eyesight, because he's not comfortable with the surrounding and he's not able to judge, is the person correct, is he approaching me or attacking me. So that is on examination basis what exactly is the problem with the dog. And the second part is with the eyes. So the eyes are protruding out. It's the face like that. It's a brachycephalic breed. They have the nostril is quite constructed, and the anatomy is such where the eye protrudes out. And because they have a lot of exposures and dogs sniff around and they tend to bite and they tend to bark and then they tend to move around and play around. So anything that is approaching them, like let's say like a football, it's approaching towards them. So the first thing that comes into contact will be the eye. If they are trying and they're playing around in the house, the first thing that they will bang into will be their eye. So there are a lot of problems with the eyes.
Right. Okay. I hope, Shivang, you got your answer. So next is Sonakshi Bora. She asked, she's got a 9-year-old lab, and from past 5 years, he's been coughing a lot. They've tried a lot of medicines and antibiotics and injections, but remains just as it is. He's just still coughing. So kindly suggest what can be done.
The best way is go for advanced technology test, like an ultrasound, or go for something like a blood test. I don't know what exactly and how long it has been going on and what has been the problem, because there are cases, especially in labs, where they suffer from heart disease or they have some kind of a congenital problem which it gets ignored, and the auscultation is not taken place, and then the right diagnostic is not taken place. So they need to change the way they are trying to look at the situation. And secondly, they need to make sure that they have the latest reports that are available for their own selves, which can help them get into the right direction, at least a blood test, an ultrasound, or an X-ray. So any of them or at least two of them will definitely help the owner or the pet parent to get through a better choices.
Right.
I see it's more of it. If it has not been there for, like, let's say for 9 years, if you're saying it's been there for 9 years, that means it's something congenital. It's not like there. It's not pathological. It is there, but it is some other. It's just masked by the symptoms. Coughing is just like a symptom, as I was telling. Fever is just an indication. It is not exactly the correct picture. It is just an indication that there's some kind of complication there is there. And if the pet parent has visited a lot of veterinarians, definitely which area, or if it is possible, we can share contacts and we can further look into the case. We can have the case reports and history, and we can do something good for the dog.
So I hope, Sonakshi Bora, you got your answer. Maybe you can contact Dr. Gulvinder at his clinic and to get into details, and he can guide you well. We've got last question because we're running short of time. Please suggest some remedy for hair fall in labs. He's 2 years old. This is by Somprabha Singh.
Again, the problem is bad. The thing is, firstly, why and what is leading to the hair fall problem? That's first thing. Secondly, how often you are grooming. Thirdly, what exactly is the skin condition? Is it? And fourth, what is the nutrition that you are giving? What is the amount of omega-3 and omega-6 you are feeding to your dog? Then what is the amount of shampoo treatment you are giving? Because if you are treating the same shampoo, or if you are using anything that looks very magical, but it's indirectly causing a lot of trouble to your dog, you need to be very specific about what exactly is the content. And again, skin treatment is something which requires lots and lots of time, patience, and a lot of sittings are also required, because it is not something which will go in 1 or 2 sitting. It has to be, because it's been going there, so it can be through anything. And there can be an allergy also. So we don't know what exactly is the cause, but as a general tip, I would say, if there are no ticks, make sure that there are no ticks, there are no ectoparasite, there is no skin infiltration by any kind of a bacteria or fungus, and there is proper grooming, and if a good amount of nutrition is being given to the dog, definitely this problem can be resolved.
So I hope you got your answers, Somprabha. So I think we're running out of time, and on behalf of the IN team, we'd like to thank you, Dr. Gulvinder Singh, Gulvinder Chaudhary, and Viren Sharma for being here and being so insightful about such a wide variety of areas that we covered about animals and love for them, and how compassionate we should be as human beings towards them, being superior over them. So I hope after this session, the children and attendees who have attended, they will have more compassion and way to treat street animals, and during rainy season, how they can be treated the inside, and even the street animals, adopted stray dogs. I also do a lot of, cleaning for them, since of course they become my babies. So for anything, the attendees, I request you can contact Dr. Gulvinder Chaudhary for any medical assistance, for other assistance on anything. Viren Sharma is there. You can follow him on his Facebook page, which is in name of Virendra Sharma. Right, Viren?
Viren. It's Viren. VIREN
VIREN
SHARM. Correct.
And Instagram page, what is that?
It's same. Viren_Sharma.
Virendra_Sharma. So please follow him. Dr. Gulvinder, do you have any FB page or Instagram page? So please share that.
No, I'm not on any social media. I'm too busy with my hospital.
I understand it completely.
So the only way you can contact me is through my email, if anyone is really interested.
Yeah.
Or they can always visit you at your clinic.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Or they can always visit you and catch hold of you at your clinic.
Yes, definitely. Please book appointment. Pleasure is all mine. Till I'm alive, I'll be happily working up, trying to do my best, trying to put in all the knowledge which I have, and with my experience, I will put in and suggest the best thing that is possible. And hopefully we have a very brighter, and we have less of disease, and we have more of a brighter thing or a brighter future for our pets.
And more of compassion and more of kindness and more of empathy toward all these voiceless creatures around.
Definitely.
I would
definitely.
like to add one more word, which is very important, which is love. Love is the bond which I feel. I mean, if you love, it has to be like for as I was hearing to Dr. Gulvinder, he was saying that you should be compassionate towards all the living beings.
True, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Broader thing, if you have love inside you, and we all have a lot of love in our hearts, it's just that we are too misers to exhibit it and to shower it upon animals and living beings which cannot speak.
No, because we always, sorry to interrupt you in between,
Yeah.
but we always say that we are human, but then we are not showing our human side.
Absolutely.
We are getting too enclosed, or we are too much squared up with the materialistic thing, work, job,
Absolutely.
money, everything. So that is just in due course of time. That's what I started with. That when we are trying to get civilized, civilization does not mean that building big buildings and having roads and hospitals and everything. We need to have develop a sense of responsibility, firstly,
Absolutely.
and secondly, love for anyone who's living around us. We should
Absolutely.
not ignore them, and we should really do whatever we can do. We can do small, we should do small. If we can do big things, we can do big things, because every small contribution is going to be a very big contribution to someone's life. So we should
Very-
always try and do whatever best we can do, and let's not make it difficult for all the living beings, because they are living in harmony and in peace with us, and we have no right to at least disturb there and create an imbalance in the nature or with the neighbors. That's what I would say. So let it be the birds,
Absolutely. And
dogs,
kindness
let it be
costs
any
nothing.
animal.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. I
Kindness
would
costs nothing.
I would like to share a bit of information which somebody is sharing here, which is very encouraging.
Dr.
Uh, is that my dog died because he had a horrible some disease, and now I have adopted a stray pet dog. I feed him daily. He waits for me when I go for cycling, and his name is Piludi. So this has been shared with us by Abhyudit Singh. So happy to know that Abhyudit compassion and love, Shilpa and all of us here that we've been talking about. Such a beautiful thing that you've done. And also there is someone, Dr. Sumedha Tiwari has been requesting Viren that please help the girl whose video is going viral these days. She's providing shelter to dogs, but facing a lot of challenges. So I don't know what girl is she talking about.
Well, I have a different say about this entire episode. I'm quite aware. I have been approached by a lot many people on my various social media handles about the same issue, which has been brought to my attention. It has been already been taken care by the civil authorities there in Indore. This incident happened in Indore, and if somebody wish to receive more insight and more the other side of the story, they can always ping me on my Instagram handle, and I will give them all the relevant information regarding the same case.
Great.
And yes, the thought behind your suggestion to me is a great thought, just to help all the needy people around us. So if there's anything which comes in your mind about a dog or a needy dog or a stray dog or any help that you need, me as a person who is related to dog and connected to it in every possible way, I'm always there. Always ping me, even at the oddest hour. I will try to come back to you and I will try to help you in every possible way as I can.
Right. That's great, Viren. Thank you so much for all your help. And Dr. Sumedha Tiwari also is saying thanks to Dr. Gulvinder for such an informative session. So
Thank you, doctor.
Both the panelists from her side, I take that. So here I think we should sign off for today's webinar. And both our panelists, Dr. Gulvinder and Viren, for being here, providing us with so much of information, insights about animals who are not just animals. I think I don't really like calling them animals, but name like that. I think definition for me is something else. So
the better version of living beings, the better version of us.
They are furries living beings.
I can't say that.
They are furry living beings.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I say it's the other way around. Definitions have switched in some ways. So thank you so much. And all the attendees requesting you to follow us. This video will be uploaded on our FB and Instagram page. Our FB handle is YEAH and Instagram handle is YA Schools, YEAHSCHOOLS. Thank you so much. Everybody around, hope you have a
Thank you.
Yeah.
Monster.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, everybody.
everyone.
And
Stay
Thank you,
safe.
Shilpa. Thank you,
Stay
Monika ji.
safe.
And
Love
thank you,
lot of
Dr.